Welcome to Y Space.
Hey, y'all.
Becca, do you know that it's recording? Just want to check.
I do. It shows in the corner.
Okay, excellent.
Appreciate you checking.
Excellent. All right, welcome to episode 35. 35. I can't believe it. It's been 35 weeks, really.
That's a lot of weeks for us to chat about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot, but
a lot of opinions.
We still show up, so that's what matters. Today we've got a little entertainment.
So do you guys.
Yeah, y'all keep showing up. I don't know why, but I'm super grateful. While I'm thinking about it, if you could go out to the social medias and follow us. TikTok, it's yspace.com. I don't even want to talk about it. And then Instagram, it's yspace.com. I don't want to talk about it. It's not going to get fixed. I'm not even going to pretend it's going to get fixed anymore. It's just, it is what it is.
This is where we are.
But follow us because it helps get us out there to other people. And we're pretty much looking for a contract similar to what Call Her Daddy just landed with Spotify. Or no, with Sirius. A couple million, It's good. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So let's kick it off with a little entertainment today. Let's talk about, I don't even know if I can call them the Royals.
No, we can't. So oftentimes we do talk about the Royals, William and Catherine. But Harry used to be a royal and he married a commoner named Meghan. She is not a royal.
And so thus we have the former royals that we'll talk about now. Would you like to tell us what happened in Colombia?
Okay, listen, we know I used to love Harry. I liked Meghan when they first got married until they went crazy. But they've gone on this tour in Colombia.
Yeah.
But it is very similar to what a royal tour would look like when they were royals. Listen, I didn't do too deep of a dive because it's just too much. And she's very fake.
Well,
which you think as an actress, you could play that off. You could play a genuine character.
I think that's the problem, though. I don't think she knows who she is. And that's why she became
probably fair.
I actually wanted to start with the fact that they went to Colombia because I was under the assumption no one went there unless they were doing a drug deal.
Okay. And their big push. So somebody said that they were invited by, does Colombia have a president? Whoever the head of Colombia is, apparently supposedly invited them. They're there to talk about their initiative that they're pushing right now about safe space on the internet and anti-bullying and all of that. I just think maybe you could stay in the States. I feel like you've got a broad enough audience here, but also no one wants you. So maybe that's.
Well, I was going to say, are we to the point now that they're only welcome in Colombia? Is that potentially? I did see that they did some salsa dancing together.
They did a little bit of that, which fine. Enjoy the culture while you're there. I think the thing, and you brought up a good point with the safety. Harry won't take them back to the UK.
Yeah, Colombia
for safety issues, but he'll go to Colombia. So that doesn't really make sense.
No, but
pretty also, much. I'm just completely confused. When you left the royal families because you wanted your privacy, you wanted to focus on a family life, which I 100% get. I respected that decision. I was on board with that. But then you turn around and it's like you try and become American royalty and still do all of the things of royal life. So I think that's where the confusion comes from, where you don't have Americans buying in because we're not totally sure what you're trying to do here. And you keep pushing all of these initiatives that you yourself have no knowledge of. You're not specialized in this. You're just making these wild claims and accusations.
Yeah.
For what?
I used to love Harry as well. I was always, now when we were younger, I was definitely Prince William, but I mean, I loved Harry as we got older and William's hair, the whole thing. And I loved what he and Catherine and William were doing with the mental health thing pre-Meghan. And I thought that was totally on brand. I thought really they could have a huge impact. And then the whole debacle happened and they left. I mean, okay, I guess I get it. Whatever. But to me, it was kind of just reminded me of a spoiled brat, bringing up last week's word. It's kind of what it struck me as, and I thought it just looked tacky. But then they came to the US, and how many business deals are we at now that have all failed? Literally
All failed.
all the podcast, her jelly or her jam, whatever the hell it was, like nobody bought that. I mean,
Riviera, Oceanfront Maya something. I don't really
it was like, what does that even have to do with spreading something on toast? Like,
also, and listen, I am not, my business acumen is very low. I would not be the one to start a business. But I do think she probably has people around her that know what they're doing. So the fact that you launched this American Riviera, but you had like a product of jam, I don't even think she sold it on her website.
no, she just sent it to famous people.
Yeah. So I just,
well,
listen,
but you said something.
All eyes are on you, waiting for you to fail, and you're giving them every bit of it.
Well, you said something, though. You said you would think that she has people around her that have business acumen. Nobody will continue to work for them, though.
That is true. That is true.
Everyone quits quickly.
Within 3 months.
And, like, we're not talking about just, like, I don't know, like the house help. Like, we're talking about the people, like, running their initiatives, their chiefs of staff. They literally cannot keep anyone working.
And they call them every time they hire someone and then they let them go. It's always like, it was just a trial run. Listen, I've hired and fired a lot of people. You don't fire a lot in the first few months. That tells me you have really bad choices, picks.
I just have to feel like, I mean, for so long, the collective we, have blamed Meghan. And I do think she was the root of it all. But, like, I think this is all on him now. Like,
oh, absolutely.
What more do you want to destroy for her? Like,
well, but I always try to take into consideration, I think that Harry is very sheltered when it comes to terms of coming to America and trying to be an American. You have no idea what it actually is to try and gain an audience, do a business, and all of those things here.
Yeah.
Because your name really doesn't mean as much because we have all these other celebrities. And while Meghan was in Suits, that's really all she had to her name. And if you didn't watch Suits, you really didn't know who she was.
No.
So I think that he like latched on thinking she's some big, great thing, which I'm sure she played up when she was talking to him when they first dated him, because I would too if I was dating a prince.
Well, and let's remember, she said she didn't know anything about him.
Nothing.
Not a thing.
You know, pictures of her in front of Buckingham Palace when she was a kid, but whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
Neither here nor there.
I don't know. I just, it's kind of like watching a train wreck. Like, I can't divert my eyes, but like, I never anticipate any of it being successful.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing. Like, I did want them to be successful when they first came here, but then it felt like when they started to show maybe a little bit more of their true colors, then people started questioning things. But now I'm just like, you guys have to get a win. Like, I want you to get a win at some point, but you got to pick a lane. And I feel like you're trying to drive through 17 different lanes. Nothing's going to land. It's too much.
And I think it's because, and you know, they're about to come into all that money that Queen Elizabeth left Harry.
How much was that? I think, wasn't it like less than 10 million?
You just said that like it was chump change. Bless your pockets, honey. But
listen, for us, that sets us up for life. But I just keep thinking of the lifestyle that you're living
in Montecito. Yeah.
Yeah. By the time you pay for security, taxes, all of that stuff, like, do you honestly have much of that left?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think the whole problem is neither one knows themselves. I don't think Harry ever knew himself. And it was so obvious with all of his decisions and the partying and the different women and just the buckwild behavior. And I don't think she knew herself. And I think now you have two people who are completely lost.
Yeah.
And so they literally grasp at any straw that's out there.
Yeah.
I
can't imagine growing up as a royal because you aren't really given the opportunity, I wouldn't think, to figure out who you are because you're literally raised to be one role.
Yeah.
Whether that's king or not, like you're raised to be a royal.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a very accurate statement of like, he came to America, not sure who he was, and literally, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I don't know, but
It's royal tours.
I guess.
We're gonna do.
Well, speaking of tours, we have now concluded the European leg of the Eras Tour.
We have. It's finished.
There is literally only, I think it's 5 cities left.
That's crazy to think about, that there's actually an end to this.
No, and if you look at the graphic, when it was like all those columns of dates and cities, it's now just the very last column, and it's very short, and it's kind of, I feel a little unsettled, a little unnerved.
It's been part of our life for almost 2 years.
I feel really weird. I'm excited for her though, but a lot of things happened in London, and then a lot of things didn't happen in London. I don't know if you know this, but there were a few people clowning yesterday, the 20th, that Reputation TV, Reputation Taylor's version was going to come out. I mean, they were pretty solid on it. And I would just like to give myself some credit that I did not go completely in. Now, I kept saying, well, I just read this, but I did not ever fully commit. And I want to take some credit because I texted you yesterday.
Yes.
I said, I bet you it's a music video so I can do it with a broken heart. And what happened yesterday, Becca?
We did get us a music video so I can do it with a broken heart.
I didn't do one stitch of math. I didn't worry about any kind of clothing. I didn't worry about a hand gesture. I didn't worry about any of that. I just thought to myself, music video.
Maybe.
So the music video, let's talk about it. We're going to be kind of all over the place with London, but I was a little more in tune to London than you were.
Yes.
But I, of course, kept you abreast of everything happening.
Yes, appreciated.
So the I Can Do It with a Broken Heart music video came out last night at like 6 our time, I think. Maybe.
I think so.
I can't remember now, which was, I think, technically like midnight in London. And it's like behind the scenes footage of them with the Eras Tour. You get to see when she jumps and dives into the stage. You now know that it's like a blob thing.
Yeah.
I still am like petrified that she's going to mistime that jump and hit the rail.
Yep. Every time.
Woo! Brave woman. And then this little thing that she gets to ride very fast. That looked very fun and dangerous. A lot of things that could go wrong. I guess do you remember back? I don't even remember when it was. She gashed her hand open in the middle of the show.
Oh, yeah.
I could see how that could happen on that little roller coaster she's on.
And when she rides her bike, you see like the behind the scenes when they open the door and she's riding her bike out onto the stage.
Yeah.
You know how many times I would have like driven into the door accident?
Yeah. Yeah. Like tumbled over.
Oh, she's a woman of so many talents.
Golly, I'm telling you. And then we got to see a lot of their like rehearsing. You, the skeptic that you are, were like, that is not Travis. I'm like, Becca, that's his security guard right next to him. And now they've come out.
I was looking at the security guard. I was just looking at the person sitting, and I was like, how can we tell?
I know. They've come out now. People have taken a lot of still pictures. It looks like there's 4 or 5, maybe 6 different instances where he's like there, which I love. And you can kind of tell she's real giddy.
Yes.
Which it just, we love.
Makes sense because during off season, he was with her quite a bit. So it makes sense that he would be in that.
So that came out. It was really fun. It went 1 million views in 13 minutes, which, of course, why wouldn't it? 13 minutes. Of course it did. But yeah, that was super fun. And it's kind of what I had been saying, like, we got to get a music video. We can't just have a single without a music video.
Yeah.
It's what I would have assumed it was going to be. But then I think about like these VMA awards, which I am constantly confused. I keep voting every day for the VMAs that are coming up in September, yet I feel like I'm voting on the same things from last year.
Right.
I don't know how this works. This is not one that would, I think, even be considered for that because it's not like theatrical.
No, it's really not. It's all this behind the scene footage that she had. I can't imagine they were taking all of that footage just for the single video.
No. And so yesterday, so that leads me to yesterday, Taylor Nation, which again, I don't know who the new interns are, but Y'all are buck wild.
I love the chaos that they caused.
They like right when the show was starting said something about what they like showed the cleaning cart coming in, and they said something like, maybe soon we'll get a peek in. So it was kind of right then that I was like solid, no rep TV.
Yeah.
Those poor people on the live stream were still holding out a lot of hope. But I figured at that point, are they, and that's what I was texting you, are they going to announce the Eras Tour documentary, which we know will happen? But I kept saying the timing doesn't make sense. The timing,
right.
So I did not think about the music video really, other than I kept thinking, well, I don't think it's that because that doesn't make sense. It's definitely not rep TV now, so it has to be a music video. But yeah, that they're constant, and like they were filming a ton in London. So where's that going to go? It has to be a documentary, which we will love for sure.
I mean, maybe when she wraps the whole thing, a couple of months later, we'll get a drop for a documentary.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some kind of mathematical equation that will tell us that we'll probably really be able to figure out.
Yep.
There were some weird things that she did during the show during the Red era. She like flashed, what was it, 55000?
Okay, so I was going to ask you, what do you think that even correlates to?
I don't know. I've seen people figuring out all these dates on the calendar that I don't know. I honestly think, I mean, yes, sometimes the math has mathed. You know, sometimes it has actually been right. But I think 9 times out of 10, she's just jacking with everybody. Or it's like an inside joke with the dancers.
Some of those must be.
Well, you know, the other thing that I thought of was a lot of times those dancers during that same segment, they play rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, I don't think I've ever caught that.
Well, it's like 3 of them in the middle normally do it. One of them's that redhead that was in last Great American Dynasty, Rebecca Harkness.
That I always think is Tree Payne somehow has made her way on stage.
There's another one that looks like her, so I get real confused. But I thought maybe she's playing rock, paper, scissors with him.
Oh, no, that's possible.
And it's not like 5 hours from 5 days from 0, like angles of the earth and the Saturn and the moons. And it's just too much. I don't know. So that happened.
Yeah.
We did not get rep TV. People we're
never getting it, guys.
I am now firmly in the camp of 2025. It follows the pattern of release a new album and then the next year releasing 2 re-records. Firmly in the camp now that both will come next year. I think the only other announcement we're going to get this year is the documentary.
I think that I had read somewhere that somebody was saying she releases a music album that has like behind the scenes footage, not a music album, a video that has behind the scenes footage. And that's like the closing of an era.
Yep.
So do we think like now she's closed with TTPD?
She has closed the TTPD era. I do believe she has closed the TTPD era. I don't think there's going to be any more singles. I do think that the aesthetic, the orange and the pink that is everywhere now. And everybody's like, oh, I think it's TS12. It might be, but I think TS12 is 2026. So she wouldn't start that now. I think Rep TV is going to be rebranded from the dark black to the orange and pink.
It's definitely possible.
I have no idea, but I'm telling you, it's not happening until 2025. I don't care about September 13th, the 23rd. I don't care.
No.
Done. But some other exciting things happened. Along the lines of Rep TV, everyone was very certain that she would say I did something bad for the day she was going to announce Rep TV. And then she did it the day before they all thought she was going to do the announcement.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
I love it.
Did it on purpose. And I think that's where I'm like, y'all, she's totally playing. Like she thinks it's funny.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was weird. I don't know. Have you gone to look at the video of that?
No.
It's definitely not meant to be on a guitar. It was, and I think that dance in the Rep tour, that whole choreography is so iconic that I was like, this is real weird.
I did wonder when you had texted me that that's what she was playing. I did wonder what it's going to sound like, because that's one that you really need those beats and the sounds and all of that
When
behind.
she tried to do the whole rat-a-tat-tat-tat thing, it was real awkward. I was like, can this end real quick? Because I feel very uncomfortable.
Let's move on.
Very uncomfortable. So that was weird. Ed Sheeran popped up out of the stage, and they did Everything Has Changed in Endgame, and then they did his song Thinking Out Loud, which I thought was weird.
She wasn't a writer on that song, was she?
No, but it apparently, because Twitter knows everything, apparently everyone's convinced now that that was their anniversary. Travis and Taylor's anniversary.
That's right.
And so maybe that's a song for them. I don't know. But it was really fun to see them together. I love their friendship. And I have been worried, as you know, that Ed had not been anywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, don't tell me we've had another friend breakup.
Right. Well, and at the Grammys, they were saying that he had mouthed something when she won. Yeah. And so, but it's nice to know that they're still friends.
Yeah. Everything was good there. She played London Boy, something that I swore would never happen.
I really didn't think she'd ever play that.
And I thought that she did a good job. She made it very joking and very much focused on London, as to distract from the Joe piece of it all. I mean, I guess it's Joe. Good God, we never really know now. But yeah, I was stunned when that to me was probably more stunning than a lot of things that happened.
For sure.
That happened. Everyone freaked out when she did surprise song mashup with Long Live and Change, and that the lights went green for like debut TV, I guess. I didn't really understand why everyone freaked out about that.
Yeah.
But they did. So there you have it. That's news, I guess. Jack Antonoff. He popped up out of the stage too, and they did Death by a Thousand Cuts and then Getaway Car, and they did redid the moment where they were actually writing the song together and like trying to work the lyrics. It was really cute.
I love that.
It was super fun. Haim was there too, which, I mean, they didn't come on stage, but I love when they are there. And there's so many funny videos of Esty Haim. She like jumps out of the VIP tent and starts like dancing with all of these people during My Tears Ricochet and is like putting on a full performance. It is,
oh my gosh,
it is worth a view. It is hilarious. But probably the most stunning thing that happened, and really got the Rep TV people all in a tiz yesterday because they were confident something was about to happen, was So High School ended and all of a sudden everything went green.
Yeah. And
I thought the color choice was weird. And then all of a sudden, Florida. What? I don't even understand.
I'm just wondering if all of them were like, listen, this is our only free night and we can all be here. And she was like, let's fit it in. Let's just make it work.
Well, so on Twitter, they were saying that, we talked to some people at Wembley Security and they said Sunday night she was practicing from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. And so, of course, everyone was like, oh my gosh, they thought she was going to do like the full out, I did something bad, which I would love to see again.
That would be great.
And if we could do that, would be great. But apparently it was learning all this choreography for Florida because they had choreography. Florence popped up out of the floor.
Uh-huh.
And so it begs to question, is Florence going to suddenly be announced as an opener on the U.S. leg?
Have they announced any openers for the U.S. leg?
It's Gracie. It's just Gracie Abrams.
You don't need anybody else. I feel like that's enough.
Well, I'm done there. I mean, I do love Florence more than you, but it was good. But have you gotten to see it yet?
I did see the Florida with Florence. Okay. I have watched that one.
Did it help your opinion of Florida?
No.
Still just can't get you on the Florence track.
I can't. I enjoy the song more than I did when it first came out.
Okay.
But her portion of it, I can't. It's just my vibe.
Well, I tell you, when it happened, I was, of course, freaking out because I love her. But I thought to myself, surely now Becca's going to like it. Nope. Didn't happen.
But I like that you always hold out hope that I'm going to come around.
I think sometime it's going to happen. I'm just not sure when. But we're starting the break now. I've seen a lot of the band has been posting. I don't know if you saw Paul Sidoti's post. Every time he posts or Amos posts from her band, it always gets me in my feels just because they've been there since Fearless. And I just, But also, like, you forget that they've all been away from their families for 4 months.
Yes.
And he has a newborn.
Yeah.
I mean, epic wife you got there, because I wouldn't do it.
No. I mean, it was nice because when they were on their last break is when the baby was born. And so he had that time at home, which a lot of dads might get some of that time at home, but then they go to work, but they come back at night. Like you can trade off like who's sleeping tonight, who's not.
Yeah. I still think that, although there were no pictures of it, I assumed that like she probably joined him some. I know Amos's wife came some. I didn't see Ashley there at all, but little known fact about her, she's actually a music executive. Like she works at one of the record labels in Nashville. So I mean, she's not like a stay-at-home mom either. So I'm like, maybe they have an au pair. I don't know. Something.
Probably.
But it should be an interesting break. We'll see if we get any engagement announcements or, that's really the only announcement I'm waiting for. I've given up on Rep TV.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't speculate on personal lives. So we're not going to speculate that she is or isn't engaged. But when and if they did get engaged, how would you want it to be announced?
Oof. I've had a lot of ideas in my head. I mean, I think my leading theory currently is not theory, but a preference would be if maybe she went on Jimmy Fallon on this break and, he'd just be like, so how are things with Travis? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've thought that I would like that. I have kind of assumed that she might just show up to the game wearing an iceberg on her hand.
Okay.
And then Tree would have to drop the announcement in the, Entertainment Weekly and People, or Entertainment Tonight, whatever it is. Or if they did something on Good Morning America together, but that doesn't feel right.
No.
That doesn't feel right. Yeah, she doesn't do interviews anymore. And so I feel like now would be a good time to do one.
Right.
I did forget to mention something, and this is totally off subject. Then we're coming back to this, but if I lose the thought, I won't remember. Female Rage, the musical. Female Rage, the musical. She has trademarked that, and Taylor Nation posted it again yesterday.
I did see that. But we've always had the theory that there's possibly an actual musical coming out for this.
So that I wonder about, because you could go on Jimmy Fallon to announce that you're going to be working on that, because he could be like, so what are you going to do when this is over? She could be like, I'm getting married and I'm making a musical. Ba-boom.
Nothing major.
Yeah. What is your preference?
So my preference is I would love for her to show up to like the first home opener or whatever the first game is that she can attend, and she just has the ring on. Just walks in.
That's what I think is more realistic, and then they'll drop it.
Yeah, but I need a Rolling Stones interview afterwards.
Okay.
Like the next day, Rolling Stones comes out, and there's a picture of them on the cover, and we've got the full story. Because while I just want it to be very nonchalant when you announce it, I'm going to need details. I want to know when it happens, how it happened, what did you do? How did he react? Like, was your family there? Yeah. All the things.
I know we don't speculate, but I'm convinced they're already engaged. I still will not give up that it happened in Singapore. It is what it is. I break all my rules when it comes to them.
That's fair.
Yeah, I that is my running theory mostly, that she probably just show up. The game's September 5th, so we'll see.
The dogs.
Apparently the dogs are opposed to that theory. It's probably chipmunks again. But the fact that the game is September 5th means that football.
Yep.
It's here. We actually have our fantasy football draft is this coming Tuesday.
It really is, isn't it?
Yep. Are you prepared? Are you ready?
I've been getting my thoughts and vibes together. See,
I've been doing my research. I'm glad that you've been doing your thoughts and your vibes.
Yep.
There has been some interesting preseason game action.
There really has.
More injuries. I still feel guilty for having said anything. Obviously, at the end of last week's episode, we found out about JJ McCarthy.
I'm so upset about that one.
I am so bummed about that. And again, I think that really throws a wrench into what you do with your wide receivers for fantasy football. But another thing that I noticed, and if these facts are not actually true, I apologize, but I think that I really read this, that the Ravens have not played their starters at all in a preseason game.
I don't think I've noticed any. I don't watch a ton of their preseason stuff, but to me, that's the smart move.
Well, I know. I mean, I get it. Yes, I agree, because otherwise you end up like Hollywood and you got this jacked up situation going on now, which I saw that Andy said he's not playing the starters Thursday. Thank God. I don't understand why we played the second one. But I do wonder, when you have a lot of new pieces, like, I don't know. I just think like maybe a series, but I mean, you never know what's going to happen in that series.
That's true.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things that like you're risking to put them out there when a lot of the times preseason is not as fast paced as what a regular season game is. You're not getting, because a lot of times the defense you're playing against is going to be second string.
No.
You're just not getting as much of an impact. So I just feel like you're risking a little too much there.
But I guess I understand the point of having the preseason, but maybe I don't. Because I guess kind of like to that point, we do always have at least one big injury.
Right.
And I guess I just don't really understand it, especially if we really are going to expand the season like they've been threatening to do.
Right.
That's a lot of taxing on a body. I don't know that I understand the point of the preseason anymore with how violent the game is. The other thing that I don't understand are these joint practices that are happening during training camp.
Okay. I can get behind preseason if you're not playing your starters. If you've got guys that you're like, I don't know who I want to be my second string or whatever, I understand I need to see them in a full game. I get that. But you're right. This joint practices thing seems very strange to me. I feel like you're asking for fights, you're asking for injuries.
Yeah.
But is the outcome worth it? Like whatever your goal was, is it actually beneficial enough to continue this?
I guess I just don't understand. I mean, you're right about the preseason. I kind of forgot that about, like, it really lets you know, like, who you're going to cut your roster down to. So to me, that serves the purpose that these joint practices. I just feel like that's a lot of trouble. I don't get that at all. And I feel like it's an old school thing. Not many teams do it anymore. I feel like we need to put a stop to it. I just don't like it because it's just not. Ugh.
No, I think you could drop that and we're still good.
Yeah. I will say I was impressed. I'm telling you, the Texans, they're still my dark horse. I saw a little bit of their preseason game last week. Stephon Diggs finally got a catch. I mean, bless
for him. He's new.
Yeah. But that wide receiver core with Tank Dell and Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, I mean, they really seem to be meshing well with CJ Stroud. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they'll for sure still be a good one to watch this year. I don't know that they're not going to go all the way, but I think they're still going to have a lot of success.
Yeah, and they're a team that I'm okay with seeing. I mean, obviously if they went all the way, that would mean the Chiefs didn't, so I'm not okay with that part, but I'm good with them making it as close as possible.
Right.
I just feel like they're a team I can root for, even with Stephon. I mean, I'm not rooting for him, clearly, but let's talk about Caleb Williams, because I'll be honest, I thought he was going to be a dud.
Listen, you and I both have not been huge fans of him, even from USC days.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised at how well he did. Now, I did have to take into account the first 3 drives of the game. It was him as the quarterback and your starting offensive lineup against a second string on defense. So, you have to take that into consideration. But still, for that to be your first time out there with the NFL, I mean, he did good getting out of the pocket because it did keep collapsing on him.
Yeah, I was going to say, it might have been his starting offensive line, but that's not a lot to write home about.
Yeah. So, I mean, he led like 2 scoring drives. He didn't stay in the whole time.
I do have to give Aaron some credit. When Aaron filled in when you were in Hawaii and we talked fantasy football, he said that he was going to pick Caleb Williams. And I was like, that's the stupidest thing you could ever do. So when that game happened the other day, he was like, wonder who said. I was like,
listen, don't talk.
Yeah. Let's just see what happens. But I have to say it was pretty impressive. The other person that I have been impressed with, and I struggle with this, is Bo Nix.
Okay, he was next in my notes.
Well,
I like these guys.
I have beef with Bo Nix because I feel like Bo cost my man, Gus Malzahn, his job at Auburn. And now he's like balling out in Denver. What are we doing here? Like,
doing really well. He's doing really well.
He looked legit. And again, you don't know, like you could be playing against guys who are not even going to make the 53. So,
right.
But I mean, impressive. And honestly, Jarrett Stidham, well, that poor dude. I mean, I'm not surprised he's outplaying. I'm not surprised Bo is outplaying him. But I would have thought, like, composure-wise, that Jarrett would have a leg up, having been in the NFL a little longer. But I guess not. And then poor Zach Wilson.
They threw Zach a bone and let him play a little bit.
I think he's got to be like, what am I even doing? I should just model.
They panned when the Broncos defense was out, and they panned to the sidelines, and you've got Stidham and Bo Nix just having a conversation, talking, and Zach is literally sitting right there, almost as if like he's the new kid in class and nobody knows he exists. And I'm like, I just wonder if his mentality even shifted, or if he came with all that baggage from the Jets and could not get himself out of, like, I don't belong.
Well, I saw an interview. I didn't see the whole interview, but I saw some clips from it where he was saying he felt like rejuvenated and like his spirit was renewed. And I'm like, well, it couldn't have gotten any worse.
No.
So, I mean, the air is a little thinner.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't think he's ever going to be a standout superstar quarterback, but I do want to see him get the love of the game back and have some confidence playing, even if you're a second string, because I think what the Jets did to him was just deplorable.
That whole situation was terrible. I mean, started with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, shocking, but that was terrible. The other thing that I found as a pause for concern during the preseason games, I don't know if you caught any of the Steelers game. I don't normally catch the Steelers game.
I caught a couple of minutes of it, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
Listen, their offensive line gonna need some help, and it concerns me because Russell is injury prone and old, so
and
that's gonna leave you with Justin Fields, who
didn't look great.
Yeah. I don't know, because a lot of people were like, oh, Russell Wilson, all these receivers want to go play for Tomlin. They may still get Brandon Ayuk. Who the hell knows at this point? But that offensive line is going to be a real problem. So I'm just saying, I'm going to help you with a vibe here. Don't draft Najee Harris. I'm telling you, he's got no holes to run through.
No. I think if you're going to draft anybody on the Steelers, take their defense.
Yeah, go with TJ and just call it a day.
Yeah, just do that. I don't know. I think, and of course, Coach Tomlin came out and he was, talking about Wilson, because everybody's like, your man got sacked 3 times, didn't look great. And he just kept saying, well, this is it's an incomplete study, which I get. We didn't see him play a full game, but what we did see doesn't give much hope. And I get, you're not going to badmouth your QB in the media, rightfully so. Don't do that.
Well, Sean Payton used to badmouth him in Denver, so I mean,
Sean Payton badmouths everybody. That man needs to go retire and sit in a log cabin somewhere.
Valid.
I don't know. It's interesting to see some of these veteran quarterbacks and players that are really getting outplayed when we thought maybe they would still have a solid year or so in them. So it's going to be a telling season for sure.
Yeah, Russell's one of those ones. Is he making the same mistake that Brett Favre made, not retiring? kind of feel like when he was like, things are done here in Seattle, he should have probably called it good. Because I feel like he's tarnishing what was a really good career.
Right. And I get he probably did not want to retire being a Bronco. I get that.
Yeah.
So maybe this is just, I just need to play for a different team and maybe not be so embarrassing that I can retire and walk away with some dignity. And I get that.
Yeah.
But
no, it's not looking good.
Pretty hard.
I don't know if you've heard, but our cornerback situation with the Chiefs isn't good.
It's not great.
So, Snead left us for the Titans. He deserved to get paid. We can't pay everybody. So I hope he does well. He seems like a really great guy. We got Trent McDuffie, and I have all the confidence in the world. Now, Josh Williams was our other one. He's hurt now.
Yeah.
So that's not great because his backup is also hurt. So we're getting real thin.
Time for us to pad up, Mandy. We're going to have to get some plates and go.
I don't know that cornerback is going to be it for me. That seems like you need to be a little faster than I might be. I went out and looked to see like what kind of free agents do we have out there because we've got some money. We could go get a veteran, with some playing experience while Josh hamstring heals up. It's not pretty. I've never heard of one of them.
Yeah. I noticed a lot of the free agents that are still left in all areas. I'm kind of like, who are you?
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a couple of big names, but kind of people like, okay, Jimmy Graham is still available. Why is he not retired? He has to be as old as I am.
Listen, I appreciate that you want to keep going, but.
Yeah, I was confused. I didn't know that, we keep getting these retirement announcements from people that we assume have already retired. Thanks for letting us know, Nick Foles. I mean, I don't know. And Colt McCoy, like, dear Lord.
And Colt McCoy really held on to that one till the bitter end.
Talk about it, an NFL journeyman. There are some wide receivers out there, though, that are still available that I think are worth looking at. And I think that, we have kind of a messy situation with the wide receiver room right now in Kansas City. But I think
we have plenty, though.
But I think there's a couple that are worth looking at. Somebody that I really like is Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Now, he was in the Raiders, and I don't think you can judge anyone by that. I don't think that's fair.
No.
He's not built like a typical wide receiver, but, yeah,
No.
I think that there's some names, but Julio Jones, again, I didn't know you weren't retired. Randall Cobb, I didn't know you weren't retired.
Okay, so I was wondering, I was like, Julio maybe could get another year at him, but Randall, I feel, man, let's retire. I think Randall Cobb would be a really good one to come back and be a coach, not a head coach. Yeah. But I think he could come back and be a coach and have a very successful career with that. Just listening to him mentor guys on the sidelines and talk about plays that we've kind of seen. Mm-hmm. Not every player would make a great coach, but there are a few that I'm like, you could still have a career past playing.
Yeah. The other one that's out there right now, and a lot of people in Kansas City are talking about, is Juju is available now that the Patriots have cut him. And obviously he used to be, so he knows the offense. It would make sense for like a veteran cheap kind of pickup. I don't think it's a bad idea. But yeah, whatever.
I guess it depends on how much money he's asking for.
Yeah. I am a little bit confused what the Vikings are doing. Not that I care a whole lot, but like we're really kind of riding hard on the Sam Darnold train, which I'm still not sure is a great bet.
Yeah. I wonder if it's more like they don't have money to go grab somebody else.
But what did they get for Kirk Cousins?
Did they get anything?
Nobody paid him? Nothing?
I think his contract was pretty much over and done. I don't think anything was owed.
Well, because Ryan Tannehill's still available. And again, I'm not saying he's the end all be all, but I'm saying he's better than Sam Darnold.
He's something.
And with JJ out now, I just feel like I'm surprised that a couple of these guys are still available.
Yeah, I saw JJ McCarron was a free agent for quarterback. I thought he was still in the XFL.
Well,
he did years over there.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was interested in coming back to the NFL. So
Well,
Maybe just threw his name out there just to see.
I was a quarterback on our flag football team for my sorority. I mean, maybe I should throw myself out there.
I think you should add yourself to the list.
I'm just saying. So we are drafting our fantasy football league on Tuesday night. We know you're riding high on the vibes. Do you have someone in mind that you're wanting to go with on the first pick, if they're available?
Well, I'm going Patrick Mahomes on my very first pick if he's available.
Okay.
Oh, I feel like I really need to get a good quarterback. And honestly, beyond Patrick, I'm really not sure who I would pick as my quarterback yet. Like I don't have a solid runner up.
That's a really valid point too. I mean,
I guess there's going to be quarterbacks that are still going to be good this season. In comparison, I'm not sure who to go with.
So you're going to go quarterback first. It's a solid. You never know.
I did it last year and it really did not help me. So maybe I should go like a wide receiver first. I struggle with my wide receivers.
Now, you're going to get more points, though, if you pick a running back first.
That's true. But I really think my wide receivers and my running backs last year were like the last ones I picked. And that was very much an error on my part.
I was going to say, that's not a great strategy for those of you who are trying to learn about fantasy football on this show. No. Oh, what Rebecca says, do the opposite.
I feel like I picked my defense second time I got a pick, and that was really
okay. Yeah, that is typically the last thing you pick.
And my first pick was Bryce Young. So you guys
listen.
No, I'm
saying with the vibes, we have to be careful.
We do. This year I'm going to try and do more like stats and be better, but let's be honest.
I think
it's still 50-50.
It's a valid point though that because we do a snake draft in our league, and so if you're not familiar with that, it pretty much means I think we have 16 teams this year. Wow. So we'll 16 people pick, and then number 16 starts it over, and we go backwards to 1. That's how the snake draft works, and the system automatically assigns everyone a number.
Right.
Last year, I want to say I was second, maybe. I was towards the top, but the problem is you can have all the greatest intentions in the world, but if you're number 16, that means essentially your best option is the 16th best player.
Right.
So if you get that number, and it tells you 1 hour before the draft what your number is. And so I'm just saying that I can have all the intention in the world, but it's for me, I last year went Christian McCaffrey first. So I'm pretty sure I did have the second pick because he was available. That was a great choice for me. I did end up second in our league. But after him, who is my second option? And then to your point with Patrick, who would I go with second? I mean, I guess maybe Josh Allen.
Or Lamar. Lamar always seems to do decent.
Well, I will tell you a little hint for those of you who are new to fantasy football and are going to play this year. Quarterbacks that also run touchdowns get you the most points.
Yes.
So typically on a typical year, not last year, Jalen Hurts is a great pickup.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's a great pickup. If they can throw and run, you're in the money. Patrick does not run, but he throws a whole lot. So those are just some tips. I don't know. We'll see. It all depends on where we land in our snake.
Right.
My God, if I get the 16th pick, I'm going to cry. I think, honestly, if I'm anything outside the top 10, I'm going to cry.
I think that's fair.
We'll see.
It's going to be rough. With 16, it's going to be rough.
Yeah. Are you ready to do some questions from the audience?
Questions.
All right. Actually, let's stay on the football topic from Pete.
Yes.
And this is a tough one. He said, which 6 wide receivers should the Chiefs keep for their 50-man roster? Listen, I mean, there are some people now saying that they may potentially keep 7, which would be a very crowded wide receiver room.
So I think they had 7 last year.
Well, we didn't have anybody worth talking about last year.
We really didn't. So maybe they just had to have options.
But I mean, honestly, with Hollywood already being hurt and the fact that he's injury prone, you never know if the NFL is going to get pissed off about the Rashee Rice thing. May not be a bad idea. Who are your 6 that you would keep?
So I'm still going to go Hollywood just because I really think he's still got some potential this year, and he shouldn't be out for much of the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Rashee Rice because, again, it looks like we're not going to lose him this season.
Yep.
If we do, it'll be next season.
Yep.
Xavier Worthy, for sure. I'm really hoping I can draft him as well.
Okay.
We'll see. I guess if we're going with who they currently have, and we've got to pick off of that roster, I went Justin Watson. He really had a great season for himself last year. So if he can continue that, he's worth keeping. I guess if McCole Hardman can get it together, maybe we'll keep him. And then if we had to have 6, then what do we have left? Kadarius Toney?
Or Sky?
I really think I'm not keeping Sky. I will take Toney over Sky. Even if Toney is just getting water for the rest of the guys.
Yeah, listen, we have a personal beef with Sky Moore that he's not even aware of.
He doesn't care.
Listen, he's got to know that people don't approve of who he's dating. So that's on him.
I bet he doesn't.
He doesn't look like he knows a whole lot of anything. I'm pretty similar. One of the things I thought was interesting yesterday, they were interviewing the special teams coach. I don't know how you say his name, Taub, Toub.
Sounds good.
Coach T.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to be pounding the table to keep Nico Remigio. I have not seen a lot of Nico in the preseason games, so I was like,
odd one to take a strong stance on. But
I was like, okay. But it made me think he was thinking of him for like kick returns. So that muddied the water a little bit for me. So my top 3 obviously were Hollywood, and Xavier. I also went with Justin Watson. I think that one's a no-brainer. I also think the fact that he's like hanging out with Patrick and them now.
Move.
Yeah, let's align ourselves where we should be. I went Justin Ross.
Okay, I looked at him.
I feel like he's done pretty decent in the preseason games. And so then I went McCole Hardman. I cannot get with Kadarius Toney. I just can't do it.
That's fair.
I don't understand. I will never pick Sky. The Nico thing, I don't know enough about Nico to pick him. I know one of the girls from Kingdom Queens is really on the Nico train. A lot of people are. Maybe I've just missed him.
I guess we've missed it. Yeah.
I don't know.
For him then.
I also don't know how it works. Like McCole, I know they've been using him a lot for kickoff returns, and then I'm assuming that that's what Nico would do. So I don't know if you can keep people just for that and not like as considered a wide receiver. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
But yeah, if we could cut Sky Moore today, I'd be thrilled. I think we need to move on from the Kadarius Toney experiment. It's not working. It's not working.
I'm just really anxious to get to the 53-man cutoff. I just want to see who's on a team, who's not.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I'm most concerned about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I really need Clyde to make the team because I'm worried about his mental health right now, and I need him to make the team.
Is there a limit on how many they can put on their practice squad?
I don't know, but I feel like that wouldn't be a good idea. I think that would damage him too.
Well, yeah, but if we could at least keep him with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Move him.
I don't know. We'll see. But Pete, I appreciate that you think that we should know who should be kept. And just always assume it will never be Sky Moore for us. Never. Switching topics from Sal, I'm assuming. This question. I had to put this one in here because, first of all, I'm rolling my eyes at you if you cannot see me. What do you think of the comparisons between Blake Lively and the recent IEWU, which is It Ends With Us?
Listen, the amount of time it took me to figure out what that was.
Well, I was like, you must be a Swiftie with the acronym. What do you think of the comparisons between Blake Lively and the recent It Ends With Us drama and J-Lo? Is this a for real question?
So there is a comparison because I had to look online and I was like, what's happening here? It's from a Bethany Frankel TikTok.
Oh, okay.
That's what this is from. I knew I had seen like headlines where it was comparing the two, but I never clicked and I never figured out. So what she was saying, I kind of feel like she did have some solid points in there, but again, it's Bethany Frankel. So I'm like,
well, do tell.
The comparison is that it's really an oversaturation. So when J-Lo came out, she was marketing her movies. Yeah. She was marketing her new drink, her album, her tour, her marriage. at the time to Ben Affleck. It was a lot. And then now you've got the Blake Lively thing where she's marketing her Betty Buzz cocktails. Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's Betty Buzz and Betty Booze.
Yes. Then she's marketing her hair care line. She's marketing her movie. And then you've got Ryan Reynolds kind of in the mix where it's also kind of marketing him as well. Mm-hmm. So from my takeaway, it seemed like she was just saying there's this oversaturation of where they're trying to market too many things. And that then when one of those things has drama, it kind of diminishes the rest of those things. And then it's almost like, well, because this thing is maybe turning out negative, now I don't even want to deal with the rest.
Yeah.
So really, she was just saying it's an oversaturation of all of the things that you're trying to promote at once is what that was.
Okay. I mean,
I don't think she was wrong, but I think that every actor or actress is going to promote while they've got the spotlight on them. What you do.
I mean, I did see the criticism that people felt like Blake was promoting her drink line at the pop-up things for the movie, and they didn't think that was the right vibe because of the domestic violence theme. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to be able to, you're never going to convince me to be able to say something negative about Blake. It's just not going to happen. Whereas I could think of a lot of negative things to say about J-Lo. So
yeah,
thrown off in general by the question. I can see the point, but I mean, I think that like, that is the point, is like, that's how you got to over 100 million on your opening weekend is like the difference here. I would say if we're going to talk about a comparison is that Blake can oversaturate the market successfully.
Right.
And J-Lo maybe not as successful.
Well, and I think you also have to take into account that a lot of times, while yes, they might be the face and it's their product or whatever, they're not necessarily always the company and the deciding factor in every single thing. So you also have to take into account that there are contracts that they have signed that potentially say, hey, you have to market at XYZ events. So it's not always just completely.
Well, and I think the other thing that people I think are not considering with the whole Blake and it ends with us thing is because I noticed she actually brought it up in an interview this past week that the film itself was actually a super small budget. Mm-hmm. And so do I think that Ryan threw in some money? Do I think that some of her brands and brand deals threw in some money? 100%. And so I think that plays into it too. And I think we were off to the wrong foot when you put J-Lo in the same sentence. So I apologize, but at first I was like, you need to sit down.
I think I would assume that's where their question was stemming from, was from Bethany's TikTok.
Got it. Well, it does make a lot more sense because I was just like, where did you pull this out of? Don't be coming for Blake Lively on this show. It's just not happening.
Nope.
All right. From Jill, what is your least favorite Taylor album? And you can't say debut. I thought, was she assuming that everyone would say debut first? I mean,
well, we've always talked about how it's not our favorite.
Yeah. Maybe that's why. What you go?
Listen, I went Fearless on this one, only because it's really not ever an album that I'm like flipping on my stations for and like, oh, let me just listen to that. It's got good songs and bops to it, but they're very much a younger vibe, which makes sense. It was one of her, beginning ones that she released. So I think I would have to go Fearless if I can't go debut, just because I don't tend to play those songs ever.
Yeah. I was torn between Fearless and Red. And I know some people may come for me about Red. But I pulled up the track list because that was the other thing. I was like, some of those a lot of overlap. And then there are some songs that I feel like belong on other albums.
Yes.
Like In Game, I think is on a wrong album. It just, I don't know. I get a little confused sometimes. So I went and looked at the track list. And basically the way I came up with Red is when I looked through the list, I had less songs on it that I liked than Fearless. Now, I'm talking about Taylor's version. If we're talking original, the Fearless Red eras, the originals without the vault tracks and all that, I would have gone Fearless.
Okay. I went original.
Yeah. Well, we can't speak of those. Those are done.
Well, that's true. That's why I don't like it.
Well, there you have it. Yeah. Because technically we can't like Reputation right now because well, that seems a bridge too far, but are you ready for some Y Factor?
Let's do some Y Factor.
I feel like I've got some decent ones today. Well, I don't know. We'll see. What are you not liking?
So what I'm not liking this week, and again, I understand. Mandy and I are, fully aged women. So I get that not everything is for us on social media. But if it's in my algorithm and I got to swipe through it, then it's for me and I get to talk about it.
Okay, what is it?
Have you seen the trend of demure on the social?
What is it? Very demure, and then what's the other word?
I don't even know.
It's just 2 words. Yeah.
Very demure, very, I don't know, simple.
Very mindful.
Very
mindful. Yes.
Listen, I saw a woman, she was like in a medical, like a halo thing.
Oh no, yeah.
And she was like, it was clearly a mom and her daughter was videoing her, but she was like very demure, very mindful in how I move in this. We just gone too far.
Yeah. Listen, I think we even texted about this week because I was like, have you seen it? Like, first of all, I didn't know where it came from. And then I figured that out, and that's here nor there. I don't really care, but it's everywhere. And it's like everybody's using it now. Even some of Taylor's dancers were using it. And I'm just like, oh, ick.
I think it's when, like, it's funny if you saw 1 or 2, but then when it gets the oversaturation so quickly, I'm out.
Well, and it's also a word that I struggle with. Is it demure or demure? Like
I've always said demure.
Right, but I don't think we're right. I mean, I think the
because we're Southern
demure or something. I don't know. I'm not sure that we're doing it.
That's it. I hope that's the way we're supposed to say it.
But I can assure you that I will never use the whole phrase in general. But B, even if I was like wanting to be cool and use it, I wouldn't because I'd be scared that
I would feel like an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even see myself doing that.
So what are you not loving this week?
I got 2 things. I cannot be contained. I'm real pissed off with ESPN.
Okay, I'm gonna let you
listen
for this.
Every freaking year, well, and it feels like multiple times a year.
Yes,
they are constantly firing really good people, and now we have let Samantha Ponder. Really?
Yeah,
and she got replaced with Mike Greenberg. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand.
It just makes me literally with those firings. You must have no money. Are you telling me you have money
when we're talking ESPN, ABC, Disney are all owned by the same thing? You don't have money? It cost me like $12 million to take my family to Disney World. What?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I am so not happy. And I know she will land on her feet and she will have, just like Aaron Andrews and everyone else, I know it's all going to be fine, but I'm just mad. Like, I'm so tired of this. And honestly,
who are they going to have left for football season that anybody wants to listen to?
A bunch of weirdos. And listen, I know that RG3 was essentially let go to make room for Jason Kelce.
Right.
And obviously I would prefer Jason Kelce, but RG3 is a really good commentator.
I think you could have kept both of them.
I don't understand. Where's the money? I need an accountant on this stat. Like, something is amiss.
Yes. Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, so I'm real pissed off about that. This next one is a bit of an entertainment deep dive. You're familiar with Paul Mescal?
Yes.
Okay. His dating history is bothering me. Okay. Listen, it appears that he and Gracie are together. Gracie Abrams.
I saw a picture of that.
They're holding hands and making out all over London. And listen, I want Gracie to be happy. But I think it's a little bit weird. I feel like Paul is kind of going through his Spotify and just dating everyone he finds on there. Because, he used to be with Phoebe Bridgers.
Yes, he did.
And Daisy Edgar Jones.
Also, he's not attractive.
Listen.
To each his own. But
the British Fury look is just not for me. And,
what it is?
It's the Joe Alwyn effect. I'm telling you. It's the Joe Alwyn effect. I want Gracie to be happy. I really do. And maybe I'll come around like I've come around on Benny Blanco. I don't know. But I'm not there today. And because there were rumors that this has happened before and he broke her heart originally.
Well, then fool me twice. That's on you, my guy.
Gracie, we need to do better. If this is...
Has Taylor taught us nothing?
I mean, that's got to be real awkward. But I think back to like how everyone dated Joe Jonas, like Gigi dated Joe, like.
Yeah, but that was back in the day when they recycled guys.
Yeah, we're not over that. Like,
apparently not.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
Our age.
My God, we get older every week.
We really do.
Name of this to the Golden Girls. Okay, what are you liking this week?
I am liking that we have reached the week of College Game Day returning.
Okay.
We are going to have Pat McAfee and Nick Saban on our TV on Saturday morning talking all things football. And I just don't even know that we're worthy of the gift we've been given. I'm so excited.
But I will say that when they replaced Chris Fowler with Reese Davis, that was the first time I got mad at ESPN.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, Reese is growing on me, but he's still no Chris Fowler. But yeah, I can't believe it's here. Every year we feel this way, though. We're like, oh my God, it's never going to get here.
Right.
And then
also, I did not realize, and again, I've been real out of the loop for the last week. I didn't realize College Game Day is in Ireland.
Oh yeah, because isn't what is it, Florida State?
And Georgia Tech.
Yeah. This whole thing confuses me again. Why are we doing everything internationally?
Listen, I understood a little when the NFL was doing it because you're trying to branch out, maybe, I guess. But college?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's weird.
University of Ireland that we're interested in them joining. Come to the SEC. That's where everyone else is.
Well, I was about to say, you might as well. Everybody else is here. Yeah, it is upon us. Next week's episode, we'll have our new format that will include football. We just don't quite. We're getting close. We're getting close to knowing what we're going to do.
We're getting there. Yeah.
That's a good one, though.
What are you loving?
Listen, you've been a little snowed under with work, so I don't think you've gotten a chance to listen to this. Probably not in its entirety if you've heard any of it. But I am loving Post Malone's new album.
Tell us about it.
Okay, it's called F1 Trillion. I don't really know what that means, by the way. But I really enjoy it. He's got some collaborations with Tim McGraw, Morgan Wallen, Jelly Roll.
Yes.
Dolly Parton, Chris Stapleton, Ernest Hardy. I mean, he brought the whole team. I learned something, though, with this album that I did not know.
Okay.
Apparently, Post Malone has always been very vocal, which I guess I just missed it, that he does not shy away from the use of auto-tune. And apparently, most artists won't admit to doing that.
Right.
And everybody gets accused of it. And apparently he owns it, that he uses it.
I don't guess I've ever heard him talk about it.
Well, because of this album, I heard him doing an interview about it. And I thought that was interesting. But anyway, listen, there's a song on this album called Yours. And it's about his daughter.
Okay, I have heard this one.
Listen, it is not safe.
It is not for the faint in heart, that's for sure.
No, listen, we don't have daughters. We are daughters, or I don't know how you consider it, but it'll knock you straight out.
It's a good one.
And then there's another one called Right About You that's acoustic.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
It's so good. I freaking love this album. I love Post Malone. I think he is just a little gem.
Yes.
I was a little bummed for him. He almost got the full top 10, but that new Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga song got number 1. And then he had the next one.
I don't love that new song.
It was on my potentials of the dislikes. Listen, I do not like theatrical, artists.
It was awkward.
So when she's got the beehive hair, I don't love it. It also is the other point I wanted to bring up was something else I'm not really liking, but it tied to this. So I had to wait till we got here. Chapel, Roan?
Yes.
Okay. Woo, nailed it. Okay. So she did a little TikTok-ish video thing this week about how I guess she had some issue. Someone wanted a picture when she was potentially not interested in taking a picture, and she got real mad about it. And so she went on a big rant on her social media about how, she's a human and not just an artist. And if she doesn't want to take a picture, she doesn't have to. And yes, okay, valid. It was pretty much like you take the opposite of how Taylor treats her fans and you have what this woman did.
Okay.
Also, like, she's super popular right now, and I don't get it. But again, I think we're too old.
Okay.
What is
for us in life?
But she also does like the whole weird makeup, because here's the thing. I saw this video of this person ranting about how she didn't want to take the picture, and she's not just an artist, she's a human, and like people need to leave her alone. And I was like, who are you? I didn't even know it was her.
I kept seeing her name pop up. Like I would flip through TikToks and stuff. I just thought she was like a TikTok person. And I was like, oh, clearly that's not for me. But apparently she is famous, and we missed the boat on that. Yeah, so that's why that new song with Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga. I mean, it's not bad, but the Beehive, and you know how it happens for me. If a video turns me off, I cannot like the song. I get it. I think it's fair.
All over again. I mean,
yeah,
it's too much. But Post Malone, totally recommended. It's fantastic. Unless you have a daughter, then please pull over before you listen.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
Well, that's good.
Well, anything else that we need to cover?
I think we covered it. Next week will be real heavy on football.
What a football. New format. We'll let you know what it is when we have it. And also next week, the bonus episode will come out next Thursday.
Yes.
All your questions. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Bye, y'all.